lose another tough one. And for me, this feels like it's it. Although I know I felt that way when they were down 3-1 to Pittsburgh. I felt that way, and definitely, in Carolina, I did not think that they would come back and win that series either. But for this time, it really feels like it's done. I would be shocked if the Rangers win Game 6 at Tampa. I really would be. And even if they miraculously pull that off, sure, you'd be thrilled to be at home for Game 7, but that doesn't mean you win that game either. So I think this is the end of the line for the Rangers. It's tough. For me, Game 3, you're up 2-0. It's about midway through the game. You're up 2-0 in the series. You have complete control of the situation, and you end up losing that game. And getting into the details is pointless. I mean, we already spoke about Game 3 when it happened. But Andre Palat scored in that game with 42 seconds left. Well, in this game, Andre Palat scores the game winner with 1 minute and 50 seconds left. So Tampa's just a different beast, where this was a close game, but Tampa Bay Lightning, they know how to win. It's not always pretty. In fact, it's usually not with the Lightning. That's kind of why they've become better in recent years, where they win these types of games. A couple of seeing eye shots by Sergachev win it for Tampa. Sergachev gets the goal to tie it up late in the second. And then this is a goal where Sergachev shoots it and it just barely deflects off a Palat, off his shin maybe, or off his hip. I don't know how the Palat was credited with the goal, and that wins it. This was a 50-50 type game as far as I was concerned. And look, I mean, you think back to Ryan Strome, and it doesn't surprise me with Strome because this is what he does. Has an open net, and I'm not even sure how I would describe it. Flub it, mishandle it, just didn't get a good shot off. So you're thinking about that, and that was with about 5 minutes left or so. Must have been maybe 5 to 6 minutes left in the game. So the Rangers had their chances, not many, but this game could have went either way. It was disappointing how there were not many penalties called. I thought that Tampa Bay definitely got away with a lot. They really did. Not to say that was the game, but it was tough, especially because the penalties that the Rangers were called on were not so obvious. So that was unfortunate. But look, Tampa, they are the better team. It's just tough when the Rangers, they had it within their grasp. They really, really did. Like this series could have gone in such a different direction. And now the Rangers are staring at their first 4-game losing streak of the season. They basically had, until this point, like 2 3-game losing streaks. And I keep on saying one of them during the regular season, they got 2 points within that 3-game losing streak. And the other one was basically the third game of that losing streak. The Rangers put out basically AHL lineup. What I'm saying is it's rare for this team to lose 3 in a row, and now they might lose 4 in a row. That's a tough way to go out. It just simply is. The Ranger lineup was kind of to my liking in this one, where Strome and Hedl were good enough to go. Hedl, I thought, was a little bit off timing-wise. Like, I felt like, I'm not sure if it was because of the injury, but he seemed just not quite how he had been. And Kevin Rooney was in for Ryan Reeves, which ends up not really helping. You could argue that it hurt. You could argue, we'll talk about the specifics, but you could argue that it hurt. But I felt like no Reeves. I'd always said that I thought that it helped. And in some ways, the fourth line was technically on for the Ranger goal, but they were also on for the goal against in that second period. So, for the Rangers, I felt like this was a better effort, as you'd expect. I thought the Rangers came out and played a pretty good first period. Not an amazing one, but a decent one. The Rangers only allowed 3 shots on goal. Granted, Tampa did it 2 posts. But still, they only allowed 3 shots on goal. That's pretty good stuff. Second period, I thought Tampa Bay, certainly by the end of it, played a lot better. But the Rangers got a pretty innocent goal by Ryan Lindgren, but I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Definitely jumping ahead. Braden Schneider takes the hooking penalty at 3:05 of the second. And, with Braden Schneider, he is your sixth defenseman at this point. Like, I feel like Justin Braun, even though he hadn't been in, and it was Patrick Nemeth, Braun, who's not great himself, he's like your 5, Schneider's your 6. It's a rough third pair. It really is. And they didn't play much, but it feels like they play a lot. Anyway, Schneider takes a penalty, which the call was a bit weak, but the Rangers call it off. Then the Rangers have their one power play, a too many men on the ice penalty at 7:48. Rangers don't cash in. But they do score, like I said, a 10-29. And it is Ryan Lindgren, his second goal of the playoffs, on a pretty, just regular shot from sort of the boards. And it goes in. And the fourth line was on for this goal. Goodrow was on, Mott, I guess Rooney as well. But it really had nothing to do with them. But Lindgren takes the shot, and it goes in. And the Rangers take a 1-0 lead. But the enjoyment was very short-lived as Keandre Miller takes a penalty at 11:07. So literally less than a minute later, 40 seconds or so later, the Rangers take a penalty. And I thought this was a weak call, but I didn't like the shift. The Rangers' shift after the goal was not a good one. They were on their heels, so I didn't love that. But the penalty at Miller, it looked like he just lifted Corey Perry's stick. Rangers killed it off, but I felt like the Tampa Bay had momentum off of that. The Rangers really couldn't bounce back. And so, for me, the officiating was not great tonight, definitely. And eventually, Kevin Rooney was too strong. Clear, he had Goodrow, and Rooney was too strong, so it goes to the point man Sergachev, and Sergachev, it finds its way home. It's an unassisted goal. Sergachev's first goal of the playoffs at 17:34, and it tied up. And at that moment, you just felt like, fuck, this is a problem. This is a problem. The Rangers needed to have the lead at the end of 2, and they did not have it. It went through, Sergachev never saw it. Sergachev takes the shot. The fourth line was on. The third pair was on. It's frustrating. It's honestly frustrating because I don't know why the 5 of them are always on at the same time, but that's what it was. And so it's 1-1 heading into the third. And the third period was kind of back and forth in the sense that there were chances for both sides. And like I said, the Rangers had some opportunities. Ryan Lindgren had a really good chance. But it's that Strome one where Andrew Kopp, I think has been terrible. Certainly this series and for a while now, and it's really making me reevaluate whether I want him back. I honestly, I don't think you need him back. Let's just put it that way. Andrew Kopp, whereas at one point I thought, okay, he'll be a good Strome replacement. I don't want either of them back. And for that matter, Frank Petrano, it's not for lack of effort, but he's another guy. I think a lot of those deadline players, they serve their role. I think that they were definitely beneficial. And I don't think the Rangers would have gotten this far without them. Definitely not. But in terms of moving forward with them, I don't think I would. Tyler Mott's still, I think Tyler Mott is the one where at the right price, I think he's a good fourth line guy. But that's here nor there. Like I said, Strome had a really good opportunity. I thought that Artemi Panarin was decent tonight. It's tough when you're playing with Strome and Kopp to do a whole lot. But Panarin, considering what he's been, and you want more from him results-wise, but I thought Panarin had some jump. It looked pretty good. For me, it was Zibanejad. Kreider for me was disappointing. Mika Zibanejad, I was really hoping, back at the Garden he'd come through. It didn't happen. Chris Kreider, it hasn't been there for Kreider. It's disappointing. I think he has 10 playoff goals, but I don't think it's been a good playoffs for Chris Kreider on the whole. There's been moments he's come through at times, but it just has not been good enough for Chris Kreider. So we move ahead to the goal. At the goal, there was a Rangers icing. Zibanejad loses the face to Stamkos, and I feel like the puck was in the Rangers zone way too long. I have to look at it again to really dissect it fully, but there was a point where Trouba kind of mishandles the puck and can't get it out. Jacob Trouba, for me, it's frustrating with Trouba, just sort of the clumsiness, and I feel like he was more on top of his game during the regular season. And here, look, he plays a lot of minutes. He's a valuable member of this team. I want to stress that. But, Trouba can't get it out, and then Kreider is just kind of up top at the point. I should also mention, it reminds me, on the first Sergachev goal, Nick Paul with a little bit of the pick on Barclay Goodrow. So Goodrow was trying to get over to Sergachev, but Paul just kind of gets in the way. And Tampa Bay, look, it's an art. I'm not even going to say that Tampa Bay is getting away with it. There's an art to that. Tampa Bay, they like to play that pick game, and it worked there. So here, Kreider gets up, towards Sergachev, and dude, block, either try to block the shot, don't screen, do something productive there. and Sergachev takes the shot, and it barely deflects off Palat and in. So Andre Palat with another late dagger to the Rangers' hearts. It's his 8th goal of the playoffs from Sergachev and Hedman at 18:10. And then at 19:01, a very easy empty net goal for Brandon Hagel. And so that would make it 3-1. That was a situation where the Rangers, they had a chance to kind of just take the intentional offside. I would have done it in that situation. Instead, what you do is you try to force something, and Hagel gets the easy empty net goal. Honestly, when Palat scored, I had no thoughts that the Rangers would tie it up. There were some fisticuffs late. Kucherov just with a dirtbag move, takes a shot at Shesterkin with a second left for no reason. I mean, shit like that's just stupid. And so, Fox gets in there, Strome gets in there, Chernak, and there was a fight between Lafreniere and Stamkos, which is kind of interesting. The two number one overall picks going at it. But Tampa Bay wins it 3-1. A really devastating loss for the Rangers. Palat, gets the winner again late. The Rangers have been there this series. Game 4 was bad. Game 3, the Rangers didn't play particularly well, but they were up 2-0, and Tampa Bay wins it with 42 seconds left. So it's tough that Tampa Bay's just been there, done that. They know kind of how to win these games and get it done. And they're not, obviously that's a very sort of general way to look at it. If you really look at it logically, the Rangers could have won these games, but they didn't. And so now they head to Tampa for Game 6, and expectations for me are very low. Very, very low, I have to say. It's been a great ride. They've shown time and time again that when their backs against the wall, they come through. Don't get me wrong. They're 5-0 in elimination games. They've shown magic. So you can't put it past them. But for me, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. To me, this loss was kind of signaled the end for me. But we'll see. Season's not over yet. Feels that way. But it's, realistically, you just got to win a game at Tampa, and all of a sudden you're back at home for Game 7. So it's the task is not, so daunting, but I think it ends in 6. I think the Lightning win it. I hope I'm wrong. Another heartbreaking loss to the Rangers. They've now lost 3 straight, and their season is very close to coming to a close. We'll see if they have just one more last magical effort in them as they head to Tampa, facing elimination. Lightning up 3-2 in the series.